spite of such long drought spells. That is because the soil structure is improved. The soil structure improvement is caused by the admixture of green manure, and this has got greater moisture holding capacity. So this is another direct benefit to the farmer. And when this benefit is available, the farmer can put more inputs. Now he has the risk factor. If supposing a drought occurs, then whatever input he has already invested or put on the land would have the risk of a failure. So therefore farmers in the rain-fed agricultural concept, they don't like to increase their inputs. They would like to go in for a subsistence type of agriculture because there is a risk of failure. Now when we are ensuring that even a drought spell of 15 days to 30 days, the crop can withstand on account of the increased soil moisture, the farmers can take a risk and increase their inputs and ultimately get a higher yield. Now when the farmer has having the advantage of soil moisture increase, then the risk element comes down and he can increase the inputs. Now let us see the impact of cover crop on the total water balance. As we just now discussed, it prevents the soil moisture evaporation during the dry period because the beating of rain or the radiation, solar radiation, is not occurring on the land, on the ground. It is covered with a vegetative cover. So the direct radiation or heating up of the soils is not the same as what it was earlier. So therefore the soil moisture evaporation is reduced. Now what does it mean? It means that the soil is having some moisture when the rains set in next. Because it is having some moisture, most of the infiltrated or percolated water would reach the water table. Earlier it was going for bringing this soil to field capacity or less than field capacity, and the recharge to water table was limited. Now the recharge to water table will get increased for the same amount of rainfall and for the same soil condition because there is already some moisture in the soil. It is found that such cover crop has brought the water table levels significantly to much higher levels, and this is even more than an engineering intervention conducted in a watershed. So therefore this has got ultimately three advantages. One is to increase the recharge to the water table. The second thing is to make NPK fertility values of a much higher order for the rain-fed lands, almost equal to an amount of rupees 2,500 of equivalent chemical fertilizers per hectare, and that is being obtained at no cost to the farmer. If the seeds are supplied free of cost, it amounts to that it's at no cost to the farmer, and it is supplied onto the field where it is available there, and you need not have to convey it also from any distance. So it is made available on the field itself. That is the second advantage. The third one is soil structure is improved, and this improvement will take care of a drought spell during the Kharif period. So the topmost importance in all the watershed interventions will have to be given for the cover crop because the benefits are very significant both to the farmer as well as to recharge the water table. The second vegetative item is tree plantations in the watershed. Tree plantations will have to be taken up to obtain A three-tier canopy. A three-tier canopy means the first tier would be up to 10 feet height. This includes grasses, scrub growth and creepers, small trees, etc. The second tier is trees of height 20 to 30 feet. The third tier is trees of height 40 feet and above. All these three types of tiers would get intermingled, and it will not be as if one row of first tier, another row of second tier, not like that. They will all be intermingled. And a dense forest will have to develop out of this. The intermingling is to facilitate good cover for the soil of a vegetative type, and when there is grass and dead leaf and other material on the ground, the soil erosion gets reduced or would be almost nil in a well developed tree plantation. This would not only restore the ecological balance which is not there earlier, it would improve the various activities pertaining to fauna, and it increases the groundwater recharge. Now these three tiers have to be developed with a certain amount of programmed activity. That is, usually the trees or saplings are planted during the rainy period. In the first summer, they have to be protected by watering. If it is not protected by watering in the first summer, then the mortality rate will be very high. Could be as high as 90 to 95%. If it is protected in the first summer by watering, the mortality rate will be extremely low, could be 5 to 10%. The taproot would get established, and it will take care of the water requirement, moisture requirement of the crop or the tree during the subsequent summers. That is when the taproot gets established. So with the first summer only requiring watering, we have to program for that. An issue may come up. How can we get water in summer? We don't have enough water even for drinking. How to get water for summer? This has to be programmed, whatever may be the requirement or whatever may be the cost of transport of that, this has got to be programmed. Otherwise we have to reconcile with a very high mortality. For namesake we would have planted number of trees, but then the end result and the effect of it would be negligible. So this has got to be taken up as a programmed activity for protecting it during the first summer. Now what are the species of trees that can be grown? So these trees could be anything which comes up locally in that agroclimatic region, which usually comes up in the nearby forest. All those things can be grown, as well as the one which the farmers or the villagers like that most. So this three-tier canopy, where is it possible and where has it to be grown? All the wastelands, all the banjar lands, all the common lands. Wherever there is a common land, this can be taken up as an activity. This is an important activity to improve the microclimate of the area. The third activity on vegetation relates to planting of trees on the boundaries of all rain-fed lands. Now rain-fed lands, rain-fed agriculture lands, they all have boundaries for each field. So in the boundaries, we'll have to plant trees. I will discuss this issue with reference to a diagram. This is the ground level or the level at the top of the field, and this is the boundary of the field, and we have to plant trees in the boundary of the field. Suppose this is the field, this is the boundary, and for this field also this is the boundary. And when the trees come up all along the boundary, then the root spread will be something like this. The crops will be grown on the rain-fed agricultural lands, and usually the impression is when a tree comes up close to the cropped land, then there will be competition of fertility from the trees. That is, the tree roots would take away the fertility given to the crop. Now, to avoid that, we have to excavate a small trench on either side of the boundary, which is of width 0.5 meter, half a meter, and depth is half a meter. And this excavated soil can be used for forming the bund, field bund or boundary bund. And a tree can be grown on the bund, and this will have a root structure like this. The roots will not go in the horizontal direction because there is a trench preventing it from spreading in the horizontal direction. So the roots will have to go in an inclined direction, like this. And the depth of the trench is half a meter. Usually the root zone of the crop would be less than half a meter, usually about 0.3 meter. So therefore, this would prevent the roots of the tree competing with the root zone or with the crops. And these trenches have got twin purposes. What is the other purpose? The other purpose is these branches and leaves will be cut periodically, because this is a green manure type of tree, and when the branches are cut, they will be put into the tree, and it will become green manure. So this green manure can be transported to the land, and it will add to the fertility status of the soils. So the green manure is prepared then and there in the field itself, and there is no conveyance of it from long distance. This is another advantage. It prevents the roots from spreading in the horizontal direction, and the stench also will facilitate providing green manure. So this type of trees will have to be planted all along the boundary of the field. And what are the varieties of trees that can usually be planted? So supposing we leave it to the farmer, that's the best. We would like to have some green manure trees, from some fuel wood trees, or some which can give him some user fruit bearing trees, and things like that. But the point here is, the entire length of the bund we should have trees. It should be like a barrier. And when this is done for the whole rain-fed lands, and also when the three-tier canopy is developed in the common lands, then the microclimate will get very favorably altered, and the environment will get improved, and it is good for the crops. The fourth activity is related to vegetative cover within the gullies. Gully slopes require certain treatment, and this should be vegetative. For example, agave would be a good medium of vegetative cover for the gully slopes. Similar varieties can be tried on the gully slopes, including creepers. And in addition to this,